Okay, so the dust has settled, had a couple of days to calm down and think about that Braintree winning goal on Tuesday and analyse just whether it was a legal goal or not. Now, having looked through the rules carefully, I can see Brett Huxtable, the referee's justification for giving it. I'm not saying I agree at all with his decision, but I can follow the string of logic up to a point that he's using. Although, the explanation he's given to Andy Morrell is really a bit nonsensical. Anyway, let's have a little look at the incident first, just to run it through and see what happens.
Cleared by Braintree, now they can try to break forwards. They've done well since the substitution. It's squared on and Isaac has it and slots it into the box, and a crucial tackle. Flag goes up and saves Wrexham. The ball's in the back of the nets.
So, as you can see, ball played in. Sean Marks is offside. Steve Tomassen deflects it into his net. Now, when you look at his argument, the referees, of it being two separate phases of play, it's really, really difficult to sustain that argument. The idea of phase of play, of course, it applies in instance, say, where the ball's knocked forwards, but not to a player who's standing in an offside position. Play continues. That's the first phase, and then when the ball's crossed in, the second phase is that player who was in the offside position attacks it and scores. Yeah, okay, I think that's pretty cut and dried, isn't it? Really, he's not offside for the first ball, but he is offside. He's onside for the second, so he's fine. The notion that that Braintree goal has two phases in it is really dubious, and maybe it strikes at the heart of what was actually wrong with that decision. The referee's trying to hide perhaps behind a rather legalistic sort of Jobsworth interpretation of the rules very literally, and showing absolutely no sympathy for the notion of how football is played. Look at it. I mean, can you really separate a move in football into two separate phases by splitting it down to nanoseconds? What he's saying essentially is when the ball's played to Sean Marks, he's offside, but he's not interfering. I don't know. I guess his logic is the ball's played in behind him, therefore he's not interfering with it. But then that phase stops. And then there's a second instantaneous phase, a nanosecond later, where Tomassen kicks the ball into his own net. I will admit, I don't think it was a very clever choice by Tomassen. I think he's in a bit of a panic. So he's let a man get goal side of him. He shouldn't have played the ball because there's no one outside him. This will become relevant later on. But having said that, is Tomassen not moving? Has he not committed himself when the first phase ends and the second phase begins? Dear me, what a supercomputer of a brain Brett Huxtable has if he can genuinely hold his hands up and say, yes, Sean Marks was offside but not interfering. Then a phase of play ended, and then Tomassen, totally independently of Marks, started to move and play the ball. What rubbish. Let's try and pause it when we reckon Marks's interference of play ends and when Tomassen's actions begin. Really hard to do. Let's look at the law. And the law says if a player's in an offside position and he's gaining an advantage from it, therefore he's offside. Well, plainly he's in an offside position, so condition 1 is fulfilled. What about condition 2? It's all about whether he's interfering with play or not. Now, I've been going on FIFA's website, because if you want to know the rules, why not go straight to source, and they've got a rather annoying, clunky animation. So I've taken a few screenshots off it to illustrate the pertinent points. If Huxtable's argument is going to be based on the idea that he was not interfering with play, and the headline definition in the rules of interfering with play appears to bear him out, because it specifically refers to a player actually playing the ball to gain an advantage. Okay? Well, Sean Marks doesn't play the ball, so in that case you could make the case for Huxtable that, yeah, he's not interfering. This is a nonsense, of course. Clearly Tomassen doesn't play that ball if Sean Marks isn't there. Run that scene through again and imagine it with Marks not there. Does Tomassen make that challenge? No. Clearly he's being interfered with because he's making a decision based on the thought that I don't know if the flag's going to go up, I have to play this ball. Is there anything in the rules to back Tomassen up though and show that Huxtable is wrong? Yes, there is. Because when you go further into the rules, there are illustrations, and it does say that a player can be judged to be interfering if he doesn't play the ball, if no other teammate could have played the ball. So the ball's played 2 marks, there's no Braintree player outside him, therefore he can be given as interfering with play. This is a rule which Huxtable seems to be unaware of, even though it is high up there in, well, actually, despite all the drama about offsides, is a pretty short and concise rule. There's even an animation on FIFA's website which illustrates this, which shows that if a player is in an offside position but doesn't play it, and there's no other teammate who can then go and run onto the ball and play that ball, he is offside. So there you go. Brett Huxtable attempted to make a rather legalistic reading of the rules. He ignored, like I said, the dynamics of a football match and tried to be clever. And I think that's the key thing here. There was a lot of showboating going on and showing off and a lot of drama. I mean, our thoughts, Carl and I, we were commentating at the time, were why does a referee have to consult for 2 minutes of a linesman to overrule his offside flag? If he wants to overrule it, he just overrules it, surely, and says, no, I saw it better than you. That's a goal. But no, he had to filibuster, didn't he? So I'm very suspicious about his motives there. But the fact of the matter is that he's given this decision because he wants to be clever, because he wants to say, look at the exact minutiae of the rules. Oh yes, I know the rules better than you. Fine. Didn't look like he understood how football's played better than any of us, and the rules actually contradict him. So a bad decision all round. There you go. How many minutes of your life have I taken in order to illustrate exactly what you thought in the first place? Sorry about that.